Do you also struggle to ignore your phone and randomly find yourself doom scrolling in the middle of the day? Well, it's actually not your fault. If you're neurospicy like me, you might have a dopamine imbalance that's to blame. And even if you aren't neurodivergent, the same thing can happen just because of the constant overstimulation our beloved screens are designed to feed us. And if that's not bad enough, our cravings for rot activities like doom scrolling increase when we are at our best, like when we are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And the negative effects of our phone addictions are fatal. A study actually found that constant emails and phone notifications led to an average IQ drop of 10 points. And another study linked high smartphone use to increased attention deficits and symptoms similar to ADHD. In this video, I'm going to show you how a dopamine menu isn't just another trend, but can actually be a game-changing solution you need to take back control of your time and your life. Trust me, I'm a neuropsychologist that has helped countless clients cope with ADHD tendencies, and this rather new dopamine menu tool has been by far a client fave because of how easy and how fun it is to actually use. To start, let me show you how a dopamine menu can help you stop wasting time and take back control in your life. So the idea of a dopamine menu comes from Jessica McCabe and Eric Tivers. They explain it like this. Our brain needs a lot of stimulation, especially if we're neurospicy or not firing on all cylinders. We get dopamine spikes when we experience something pleasurable, fun, or satisfying. Enter those cheap, rotting ways we usually try to get the fix, like endless scrolling, impulsive shopping, binging Netflix, or that overrated glass of wine at the end of the day. Those unfulfilling activities like doom scrolling are like trying to fill your stimulation glass with an eyedropper. It just isn't enough because it isn't truly enjoyable, or if we've tapped that pleasure button too many times and we don't get the same amount of pleasure that we used to get from it. The solution is to figure out the activities that truly fill you up, because these activities will give you more stimulation bang for your buck, like pouring from a large glass. Sounds simple, right? The problem is making better decisions in the moment we need this stimulation is very difficult because it requires executive functioning largely from this prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that is compromised if you're neurospicy or if you're not running on all cylinders. For example, the HALT acronym: hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or if you're just anxious, depressed, traumatized, bored, sick, or going through anything else that stops you from being your best self. Think about it. You're asking yourself in the moment of boredom to recall better choices you can make. Reason with what's the best choice to make for that moment. Organize and plan the steps involved in this better choice, then initiate those tasks. Those are all executive functioning tasks. And when you are running low on dopamine, this is too much to ask. Jessica McCabe and Eric Tivers describe it as going to the grocery store and trying to make good choices when you're hungry and you forgot your shopping list. It's just not going to happen. Enter the dopamine menu. It's a tool you can use when you're bored, distracted, or craving stimulation. You will now be able to pull out your little dopamine menu and choose an activity that is more aligned with what you truly want and what truly fills you up. When I actually worked in substance use treatment, something that's also heavily impacted by dopamine, we call this coping ahead, which is simply coming up with a plan ahead of time to cope with triggers, because trying to think during a craving was just too much to ask of anyone. You're going to do the same thing when you're triggered to doom scroll or do any rot behaviors. So now that you've seen how this works, let me show you exactly how to make one of these for yourself. So Jessica recommends designing your dopamine menu into sections similar to a menu that you would see at a restaurant, with appetizers, entrees, sides, desserts, and specials. So I'm going to share my own dopamine menu with you so you can create your own, and my two favorite activities from each of these sections so you can get a little bit of an idea how to do this for yourself. So let's start with the appetizers. Those are those quick burst activities that you can do in a brief amount of time to get a fast dopamine boost. They typically take anywhere from 2 to 15 minutes. These are perfect for when you need a fast, satisfying distraction that prevents you from falling into negative habits like doom scrolling, and they're best used when you're short on time or you need a quick break from work. So two of my favorite appetizers are going to be warm tea, getting myself a hot cup of tea. The warm gives you this instant cozy vibe from a hot cup of tea, and it's different enough to be a fun little drink to get you out of your boring or mundane activity, to give you kind of that stimulation. Another one is stretching. We probably all sit more than we like, and a quick stretch is just a great way to wake up your senses and shake things up. It's also great for your body after hours of sitting, like I said, that most of us are doing. Next are going to be your entrees. These are activities are more engaging than the appetizers, and they take a little bit more of time, a little bit more involvement than the starters. The best times to grab your dopamine menu to review an entree that you might want to do will be for longer breaks, like a lunch or during evenings after work, or even maybe on the weekends. They can also be useful when transitioning between major tasks. So think about 45 minutes. Two of my favorites from my entrees are going to be watercoloring. This is a new favorite of mine. My husband actually bought me a watercoloring guided book that helps you learn how to watercolor as a beginner, which has been really great. It also helps me practice with something called wabi-sabi, which is a Japanese concept that embraces the beauty of imperfection, impermanence, simplicity. This is great for people that are recovering perfectionists because you get to be in the moment, focus more on being present and enjoying being creative rather than being perfect and the outcome of what you're creating. Another entree that I'm loving is reading fiction, like really getting into a good fiction book. I started back reading fiction about a couple of years ago with the book Covenant of Water. So amazing, and I have kept up with that practice instead of always wanting to do self-help books or reading things to learn. Reading for enjoyment is also very pleasurable and gives you really good satisfying dopamine kick. Next are sides. Sides are activities you can do alongside other activities to make them more pleasurable. These are best to choose from when you have to do a boring task or something you're really dreading doing. Often choose one of these when I have to write a report or get on the treadmill, things that I'm actually dreading. So two of my favorites are aromatherapy. So I have a little dust diffuser. I also have candles in my office that I like to use. I like to use things that are more calming when I'm a little stressed out, like lavender. I'll use those scents. And then if I need a boost to wake up, I'll use a more brightening scent like a citrus, like a lemon or an orange. Another helpful side thing that I have on my menu is that you can do alongside other things is to make things more challenging. One way I like to do this is to set a timer when I'm working for the Pomodoro method, but also making it more challenging to see if I can beat the timer. Okay, so the last two categories are specials and desserts. Specials are highly rewarding and might require specific circumstances or more significant time blocks. They offer high levels of satisfaction and a dopamine release, making them perfect for things like weekends or days off. So this might be doing things like going on a vacation or starting a passion project like a YouTube channel. So specials are for kind of like those special times. That's how she kind of describes them. And then other ideas for specials are going swimming or going to jacuzzi, Pilates class, going shopping, doing a full glam of makeup if you like makeup. And then we move to the last category, which is desserts. Desserts are treats. They're like activities you might not do often, but they provide intense pleasure and relaxation. They're perfect for rewarding yourself after a long day or after accomplishing a tough task. Some dessert ideas would be using social media with a timer, having a spa night, doing an elaborate skincare routine to like pamper yourself, or ordering takeout from your favorite restaurant to kind of reward yourself. Okay, so when I was little, we would go to my Uncle Wayne's house, who had this little vicious chihuahua. As soon as we set foot on the sidewalk outside, he would bark and go crazy, growling at us all the way up until we reached the front door. But as soon as we got in, he would go run and hide. His bark was literally much bigger than his bite. I don't want you to be like that chihuahua where you talk a big game with this fancy plan, but when it's time to take action, you bail. So instead, I want you to commit to taking action to actually use this menu that you created by setting yourself up for success, because this dopamine menu only works if you use it consistently. But how do you do that? Next, I'm going to show you how to get in the habit of using your dopamine menu so it's not just a fun art project, but something that actually helps improve your life. So you're going to use the strategies from the book Atomic Habits to break your rot habit and build your menu habit. To break your rot habits like doom scrolling, impulsive shopping, grabbing junk food, here's what I want you to do. First, you're going to make the habit invisible. So delete the apps off of your phone, remove the junk food from your house, and use phone grabbing like as a trigger to actually use your dopamine menu. So you'll notice even when you remove these apps from your phone that you doom scroll on, you'll still be in the habit of just grabbing your phone to get on there, even though your brain hasn't connected that it's not there yet. So I want you to use that as a trigger instead to pick up your dopamine menu. I remember when I was ending my doom scrolling at the beginning of this year, probably maybe in December actually, I deleted Instagram, TikTok off of my phone. I don't even have Instagram anywhere downloaded, but I was still picking up my phone to scroll, and I realized that this could be a good trigger for me to actually look at my other things that I want to replace these things with, like in my dopamine menu. So use it as a trigger. Second, you're going to make it unattractive. So write down the negative way you feel after doom scrolling to really solidify how bad it makes you feel, and revisit it if you need to remind yourself why you no longer want to do this habit to make it really unattractive. You can do that with other rot habits that you might have as well. 3, make it difficult. So remove your credit card information from shopping sites. Disable your social media accounts if just deleting them off of your phone isn't enough and you're like going to the desktop. Make it really, really difficult. And then 4, you're going to make your rot habits unsatisfying. So get an accountability partner that will give you like a negative consequences besides just the embarrassment for doing that rot habit. So maybe someone that lives with you particularly that can help you, hey, get off your phone, or you got to add some money into the doom scroll jar whenever you are engaging into this negative habit. So this accountability is going to help you in that way. All right, to build the habit of using your dopamine menu, I want you to make it obvious. Make copies of your menu, post it around your house so you have it easily available and it's very obvious for you to use. Make a digital version to put on your phone. 2, make it attractive. Make it pretty as you can. Don't get it caught up in being perfect, but make it look good and give activities, funds, names. 3, make it easy. Jessica calls this preparing your ingredients. So create placeholders like a meditation space or pulling out your guitar already, so it's not something you have to go and get out of the closet. It's just very easy to use. So prepare to make these things that you have on your menu easy to do so that you have placeholders and you can just jump into them. And then 4, I want you to make it satisfying. Create a daily menu use tracker, and then you can get that sweet satisfaction of checking it off each day that you actually use it. That's going to help you build that habit. I do also want to mention, if you are neurodivergent or you just have like ADHD tendencies and you're just looking for more ways in general to be more productive, you should check out my Systemize Your Goals course. It does also include a bonus module called Neural, Spicy, and Productive, which you might find useful as well. It's important to realize you can make the shift to be in full control of how you spend your time and fill your life with things that actually make you happy. You only get one life. Don't waste it doom scrolling and wasting your precious time draining your energy. I'm rooting for you to make the most out of life, and I pray that this helps you find more meaningful moments and memories to add to your life. And the thing is, even though you know how to create a dopamine menu you to get in control of those rut habits. You also need to master getting back on track when you get in those slumps that make it hard for us to make good choices, because if you don't, you'll likely spiral into even more bad habits, and none of this will actually even be helpful. So I want you to watch this video next, where I'll show you how to get out of a rut and start being productive again when you've fallen off track. Cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.